Let me tell you something about the way I record. I live in such a noisy place, and there's so little I can do to reduce the noise. And honestly, I don't care, so there are always gonna be noise in my recordings unless I record from a different place. Today I want to talk about my favorite 2023 albums. And if you know me, you know I'm a music nerd / geek. And I think this episode will be for the likes of me. So hi nerds. Also, if you know me, you know that I'm not genre phobic. And I listen to basically every genre that was created. I have to keep up with everything because I have a crippling fear of missing out on things that I love. So let's start. The first album is Bar Italia's Tracey Denim. I only started listening to Bar Italia last year, and when I checked out their older music, it was very much shoegazy and slowcore, and now they're more of slacker rock. And honestly, don't ask me what slacker rock is because I'm not sure. It feels like underground alternative rock, indie rock. Bar Italia consists of 3 members, Nina Cristanti and Sam Fenton and Jesmi Fehmi. And Sam and Jesmi have been in a duo called Double Virgo. I assume it's because they're both Virgos, just like me, and so I have to go check it out as well. FOMO. Bar Italia is under the label World Music, which is run by Dean Blunt. And let me tell you how much I love Dean Blunt. I love him very much. He also produced their first few records, but now on Tracey Denim you'll notice that the guitars assume the foreground. It's very much post-punky with the riffs that they have and the sturdy bass lines. For me, I really like this album because it's very groovy. And it's not long. It's so nostalgic of the late 80s indie music. And now they're under the label Matador Records, which is home to the likes of bands like Pavement. This band has released 2 albums in last year, which should make music nerds feel lucky. But honestly, I'm not going to review their second album because I like this one much better. Which doesn't mean that the other album, which is called The Twits, is bad, but I just was very much impressed when I listened to Tracey Denim because it was the first thing I listened to for this band, and I was mesmerized by the music. One of my favorite songs on this album is called Changer, which consists of a chorus, verse, bridge, number 2 verse, and then a chorus. Didn't get the chance to say I want more. Doesn't have to be this way. It's too pure. Now that you've gone away, I'm bored. I'm going out every day to make sure. It's a very nice melody. There's very nice melody to the song, and I really, really like it. Now let's get to the other bands that we're going to mention so far. And I have 3 bands that have made a huge comeback. So let's start with the first one. The first band is Wilco, and they have made their 13th album, which is called Cousin. And if you're a Bear fan, you're going to be very happy with this album's name. The Guardian says that in the review of the album is that it's like a band rediscovering their experimental side. And if you know Wilco from their early albums, you will feel the same. This album feels like they're being themselves but also doing something different and trying to rediscover their potential. Something very nice about this album is that it's produced by a woman, Kate LeBon. And I've read that Jeff Tweedy wanted something refreshing within the production scene. I'm not really a Kate LeBon fan. I haven't listened to a lot of her songs, but I can see that she has a very much experimental side. And now that Jeff Tweedy is an old man, not taken in a, please don't take it in any offensive way, he's one of my idols. But now that he's old, you can see that the lyrics resemble an old man's anxieties. And with Kate LeBon in the production seat, you can see her influence on the lyrics. It reminds me when they've used Jim O'Rourke's influence, Jim O'Rourke from Sonic Youth, when they've used him on Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. This is one of the albums like A Ghost is Born, which you can tell why they have called Wilco America's Radiohead. So if you like experimental music, if you like alternative experimental rock, you will definitely like this album. Now let's get to the second band that made a huge comeback, and this band is Paramore, with their album This Is Why. Paramore was one of my obsessions as a teen. I was very much into emo and pop rock, pop punk, and I was also very much into Green Day at that time, and so it was one of my obsessions when I was a kid. And then they came in 2017 with their album After Laughter, and honestly, I was also very amazed, like, this is synth pop, what are you doing? I'm not sure what you're doing, but I'm very much into it. And that's the greatest thing about Paramore, is that they change with the generational change, and also they mature with their music as they mature with each other and as friends. And the lyrics on This Is Why are, as usual, felt on a spiritual level. And this is another thing that I like about Paramore, is that their lyrics is always complicated and speak about our innermost feelings and emotions, but in a very simple way. And they're also very self-aware. I remember when Hailey said about Misery Business that she wrote it because she was a dick. Another song on this album is Liar, which she wrote for her bandmate Taylor York, who she is in a relationship with now, and they've been officially public about this. And it has a reference to another song, but on her solo album, Crystal Clear. Crystal Clear, she also wrote it for Taylor York, as far as I remember. This Is Why album is more of an alternative rock album, post-punkish album, and they are not back to their synth pop. I think it was a moment, with After Laughter, which is personally, I think, one of the best Paramore's albums. I have absolutely no problem with their experimental side. Go ahead, you do you, and at the end, it's always perfect. Let me read you the lyrics of some of my favorite songs on the album. This is the song Crave. I can't wait to memorize this day. Oh, a picture could not contain the way it feels. You say, live in the present. I'm already living, dreaming of how it begins, and trying to savor the moment, but I know the feeling will come to an end. So I crave to do it again, all again. Wasn't I just telling you about my crippling fear of missing out? Yeah, this is also your crippling fear of not being present in the moment. Another song, which is the ending song on the album, is called Thick Skull. I am a magnet for broken pieces. I am attracted to broken people. I pick 'em up and now my fingers are bleeding, and it looks like my fault. And it looks like I'm caught red-handed. See what I'm talking about? It's very simple, yet it's very complicated, like what she's speaking about. That's such a complicated thing to talk about. And I think here she talks about her self-sabotaging side, and also how her relationships are always complicated because the people she's with are always complicated. The third band that's made a huge comeback that we have today is Slowdive. Slowdive is one of the shoegaze pioneers, and they've made a comeback after 6 years, just like Paramore did. And one of their singles, Kisses, it's very funny how Neil said about it that it was too pop and he didn't like it that much. And now I think it's their most successful single yet. Slowdive continued to do pretty much the same thing that they've always did, haunting dreamy guitar noise. And this album, Everything's Alive, is the second album of their second phase that started with their self-titled album Slowdive in 2017, after being dropped by Creation Records. They have an instrumental song on the album which is Prayer Remembered, and it's so haunting. I've slept to this song every day for about a week. And the single I told you about, which is Kisses, could easily be a classic early New Order single, but reimagined through a dream pop haze. I stole this from the Guardian review, by the way. This album, Everything's Alive, is dedicated to Goswell's mother and drummer Simon Scott's father. And as far as I remember, they both died in 2020. And you can feel the grief with the guitar noise. I think that's one of the best things about Slowdive, is that you can always feel through the noise what they're trying to tell you without having to listen to it in lyrics. It's amazing how they've proved everyone wrong by making another album. I think they've been trying to stay positive, and it's great for their fans to see them trying to stay positive. Okay, let me read you part of the lyrics from their single Kisses. Tell me you're the best thing, I tell you that's what you need. Rolling on those good looks, maybe it's just enough. I know you dream of snowfields, floating high above the trees, living for the new thing. Sometimes then you won't do. Kisses, born in desert sun. Kisses, born desert sun. Kisses, born desert sun. And then the other one, my favorite, which is Alive. It says 2 lives are hard lives with you. And then they repeat this 2 other times, and then, hey, just look at us now. Time made fools of all of us. We look, but we don't understand. We try, but we don't look around. Looking down, looking around. 2 lives are hard lives with you. Okay, now let's leave the alternative rock albums and start with hip-hop albums. I don't have a lot. I have first one is Scaring the Hoes by jpeg, Mafia, and Danny Brown. And this one is alternative hip-hop. I love alternative hip-hop. And jpeg Mafia is one of the ones who does it the best. This album is said to how it might have sounded in the 90s with no Pro Tools. And it has a lot of samples, it's punky, it's noisy, and it's definitely not for everybody. Danny Brown says that his dumb ass was supposed to have been gone, but I'm broke, so I gotta do shows to take my ass in. And I love their honesty. I love the fact that they're saying, well, guess what? We're not doing this for fun. We're trying to make money. And it's good, so take my money. Take all of it. The album has so many songs with funny names. And the title itself, Scaring the Hoes. There's Step Up Pig, and there's another one, which is called Jack Harlow Combo Meal. I think they're making fun of Jack Harlow in this one. If you think the titles are funny, you have to read the lyrics. They're exceptionally funny. In the opening track, Lean Beef Patty, which is a reference to SpongeBob, jpeg Mafia says with the opening lyrics, first off, fuck Elon Musk. And that's the same thing I said when I had my manic episode, so I get what he's talking about. The songs contain hyperactive bragging and sex rhymes, I think, like the one on Scaring the Hoes, the song. And it's one of my favorites off of this album. And this song is very much me. I feel like it's meatcore. Stop scaring the hoes, play that shit that'll have them touch they toes. We don't want to hear that weird shit no more. What the fuck is that? Give me back my my aux cord. Stop scaring the hoes, play that shit that'll have them touch they toes. That's basically me. That's what I like to do. It's very fun to play music that other people will think like, what the fuck are you doing? I love this. So if you like hip-hop, if you like alternative and experimental music, you have to listen to this album. The second hip-hop album I want to mention, which is not really hip-hop, it's kind of more of Afrobeats, is Fountain Baby by Amaarae. This album is a 10. It's completely a 10. This album is really, really good if you're into hip-hop and Afrobeats, while also listening to something that's refreshing and which feels that no one has ever made such the likes of it before. It's her sophomore album, and the first time I saw a picture of Amaarae and was like, mommy, but then her voice is fragile and girly, and that's my favorite thing about her. Other than the fact that she makes amazing music, there are so many instrumentals on this album, like violins and cellos and Japanese instruments and African instruments, and that is such a refreshing thing to hear, because in hip-hop everything sounds the same, all the beats are the same, and no one uses any other instruments, any other beats. You can find so many themes of sex, desire, money, depression, anything that you can think of. Fuck you and give you away. You know, I just wanted to play. She sings on Disguise. And another one that speaks of money and fame and power. 'Cause my money just too long, the thought of me spending gives you goosebumps. This one is on Reckless and Sweet, and it speaks of gold diggers, which is very refreshing. Like, she speaks of male gold diggers. Why is never anyone talking about this? And it's very funny how I never knew how Amaarae is, although I've always listened to her popular song everywhere. It was playing everywhere, the one that says, I really like to party. I've always known this song. I think my sister played it all the time on TikTok. Another amazing theme is her support of LGBTQ and how she expresses it. Also, especially how everyone through the LGBTQ community is suffering in Africa. My favorite song off of this album is Sex, Violence, Suicide, and I personally think she wrote this one while she was on her period, and I'm not explaining further. This song has very good guitar riffs and amazing drum play. Let me read you some of the lyrics. We in the hills tonight, you're in your fields tonight, shawty's up all swimming in my head. Wanna feeling something real tonight. If looks could kill tonight, you would be something like a cancer, Ted Bundy or Wayne Gacy. Nose wide open, eyes dilated, I couldn't live life without you, nothing's right without you. Baby, if you choose to die tonight, I'd be right behind you, hell nah. Baby, for heaven's sake, when the angels call, I need you wide awake. Methamphetamine melting off your face. When the angels call, I need you wide awake. And then she starts screaming, screaming, screaming. Oh, I need you wide awake. I said the hells have eyes, but baby, I do too. What's wrong with us? Is that I love you? I said, the hells have eyes, shawty, I do too. What's wrong with us? Is that I love you? Too much, too much, too much, too much. For my own good, too much, too much, too much, too much. Baby, you're no good. Then she starts screaming again. And then the last, or not the last verse, I think the bridge. I bet that you hate me now. I change my life and then I change the sound. Ruin your day and then I take a bow. Come give me kisses, come make mommy proud. Anyway, you get what I'm talking about. She definitely wrote that one on her period. The third hip-hop album I chose is Mid-Air by the duo Louis and Felix under the name Paris, Texas. The thing I really like about this album, just like the others, is that it's not really mainstream hip-hop. It's very thrilling, controlled chaos. and it's almost like a punk rap album. I think it's punk rap. The sound and overall style takes us back to the DIY days of groups such as Brockhampton. If you like Brockhampton, you're going to definitely like this album. And by the way, this is their debut studio album. The first album, it was more of an EP as far as I remember. They build on the foundation they set 2 years ago with the slew of accessible songs that they have put out, and I personally never knew who Paris, Texas is until I started listening to them last year, and this album is very good. I can easily give it a 7.5 out of 10. And I can also give them like an 8 because Paris, Texas, I think they take this name from the movie by Wim Wenders. So let's get to the last 3 albums, and I don't know what kind of qualifications we can put them under, but I'm not sure of their genre, to be honest. The first one is Chaos for the Fly by the Irish lead vocalist of the band Fontaines DC, Grian Chatten. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with Fontaines DC. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. They're one of my all-time favorite bands. Grian Chatten, with his debut album Chaos for the Fly, he's made something that is very memorable, very mesmerizing. No one can ever forget such a debut album. He takes the album title from Morticia Addams' quote from the movie Addams Family. Normal is an illusion. What is normal for the spider is chaos for the fly. This album was his Leonard Cohen-esque songs. Indie folk sound is or was created in about 2 weeks. Don't ask me how. I don't know. How was all of this goodness created in 2 weeks? I have no clue. The album is very emotional and self-analytic. Nothing less expected from Grian. He himself described the album with a horror movie with a hyperreal color palette. And that's exactly how the album feels like. He also has his fiancée singing on a few tracks as the backup vocalist. On tracks like Bob's Casino and Last Time Every Time. And it creates such a sweet contradiction between his manly, raspy voice and her angelic sound. I'm not very much into following artists' love life and personal matters, but I love her. I need to know more about her. She needs to have her own debut album. She has such an angelic voice, and it creates such a sweet contradiction. And it's such a funny thing for Fontaines DC fans, as if they weren't productive enough creating 3 albums in 4 years. Now their frontman has released his own debut solo album, and I think we're just lucky. Another one of my favorite albums last year was Gut Games, and it's by The Kills. If you don't know who The Kills are, they are an American-British duo consisting of vocalist Alison Mosshard and guitarist Jamie Hince. The Kills are an alternative rock band, but this album feels so different. It's not that it's not rockish, it is rockish, but it has so many other instrumentals. This is their album after 7 years hiatus, and honestly, it's very, very good, and I feel like they've made something that they've never done before, and they've made it theirs. I think their hiatus gave them a blank canvas and the ability to break out of their comfort zone. And it's obvious how Gut Games is a step forward to the band to make something new and to make such a bolder invention. On this album, Mosshard composes on the piano for the first time, and it doesn't feel like the first time. And if decamped on or in an old church, which is so ironic because, well, look at the name of the album again. They've recorded this album with their friend and producer and Grammy Award-winning Paul Epworth. I just really love Mosshard's raspy voice, and it really reminds me of Karen O's voice. And Now that I've mentioned this, I feel like the Kills and Yeah Yeah Yeahs are very much alike. Like, they're kind of the same band, but in two different timelines in a way. I don't know. One of my favorite songs on the album is the opening track, and in which they compare a lover to the city that never sleeps. There are so many dramatic voice sounds in this track, like trumpets and horns and piano, and I feel like they build layers with each instrument that they play, and also with each song they have built a new layer. Now let's get to the last album on this list, which is 10,000 gecs by the duo 100 gecs, Laura Les and Dylan Brady. They are making catchy hyperpop yet again. After they went viral with their breakthrough albums, this is their sophomore album, and I personally think it's no longer hip-hop. It's something, they're onto something very experimental, punky-ish, rockish, electronic-ish. The bass and guitar riffs are so catchy, and on the Guardian review, they have described them with derangedly catchy singles and killer hooks. And I love that they use the word derangedly, because if you're chronically online, you'd know that they describe 100 gecs as autism music. Honestly, I think it's more of an ADHD music, but whatever the memers say. One of the catchiest songs on this album is Dumbest Girl Alive. And it's one of the songs that tell us about their pop punk roots, also like Hollywood Baby. And this album is very short. It's 23 minutes, and they pack more ideas into 23 minutes than most artists would do now. Let me tell you my honest opinion about this. This is the peak of hyperpop music. It's humorous, it's entertaining, it's spontaneous, it's everything you would look for in a hyperpop album. Now let me read you the lyrics of Dumbest Girl Alive, which is a song you would play if you want to wake me up from the grave. If you think I'm stupid now, you should see me when I'm high, and I'm smarter than I look. I'm the dumbest girl alive. I took 10 Advils today, I got bruises on my thighs. Plus I gave away my brain, I'm the dumbest girl alive. I got lighting in my veins, walk around like Frankenstein. I did signs on my face, I'm the dumbest girl alive. Never ask me what I think, don't know why you even try, 'cause I always get it wrong, I'm the dumbest girl alive. Money coming from my mouth, money coming from my eyes, and I keep on losing count, I'm the dumbest girl alive. And I'm picking up the pace, I'm so happy I could die. Put emojis on my grave, I'm the dumbest girl alive. And I feel so dangerous, but you say I'm doing fine now. Guess that's how it goes, I'm the dumbest girl alive. This song could wake me up from the grave because it's so much me. I am the dumbest girl alive. This is poetry. I don't understand how people hate on hyperpop when there are hyperpop songs being made and they're that good. Anyway, I'm done with everything, and if you like this episode, I have so many other albums that I've liked from last year. I mean, Desire, I Want to Turn Into You by Caroline Polachek. Did you know that there is a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard by Lana? And I didn't mention this one specifically because we don't fuck with Zionists. This Stupid World by Yola Tengo and King Cruel's Space Heavy. I mean, I have so many other things for you if you would like another episode about my favorite 2023 albums. And yeah, that was everything. I will see you next time. Hopefully it will be an Arabic episode. Who knows? We will see. Bye!